And greetings, children. We just got done with what was no doubt a fascinating and riveting discussion of who you placed in a reboot of Dante's Divine Comedy. But at the end of that last little lecture piece, I said the unifying force in medieval literature was Christianity, and that Christianity's unifying force would allow Christians to do something they hadn't done before: leave Europe for the first time in 1,000 years. And what would bring Christians to do that would be the quest to retake the Holy Land from the quote unquote Saracens, who you know better as practitioners of Islam. And that event is called the Crusades. But before we can get into the Crusades, we're going to stop and we're going to take on a little mini lesson where we're going to go over the religion of Islam. To understand anything about the Crusades, it is natural, it is imperative to understand the religion of Islam. So for the next 2 or 3 days, we're going to stop and we're going to focus on Islam and what the Islamic religion is about and how it relates to the West, because that is the whole crux of what the Crusades is, beside the fact that Islam is the second largest religion on earth and may even eclipse Christianity during your lifetime. So where does Islam start? Well, in the year 570 or somewhere thereabout, there was a man born in the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula, and his name was Muhammad. Muhammad came from a group of people called the Bedouins, and the Bedouins were this previously nomadic tribe, herdsmen, traders, who had roamed the Arabian Peninsula for hundreds of years. Within the century of Muhammad's birth, the Bedouins had settled down for a agricultural existence. They continued to be traders, but now they had steady farming and they weren't semi-nomadic anymore. They weren't moving as much. And that's the world that Muhammad is born into. He was a shepherd, he was a merchant, and then he will get his big break when he marries an extremely wealthy widow, and this will catapult him up the social ladder. I see a lot of similarities in Muhammad to the story of Abraham. Here's this guy, he's wealthy, he's respected, but he has this emptiness. Now, Muhammad would have seen all kinds of religions. He would have known Christians, he would have known Jews, he would have known followers of the prophet Zoroaster. And the city he was in, called Mecca, it was actually a hotbed of religious tourism. There were all kinds of shrines to pagan and tribal gods scattered all the way around it. So Muhammad would have been familiar with a cacophony of different religions. But none of them really stuck with him. Nothing reached him. So, like Abraham, like the Buddha before him, he wants to find answers, and he tries to find them through meditation. And he would go up, his midlife crisis around the age of 40, he would go up into caves around Mecca, and he would begin to meditate and pray. And one day, he believes he gets an answer. He rushes home to tell his wife that the angel Gabriel, the same Gabriel Christians believe appeared to the Virgin Mary, the angel Gabriel appears and tells him that he is to be the last prophet of God, God's final messenger here to planet Earth. And he is going to be trusted with giving God's final set of instructions to the human race. And when Muhammad's wife hears this, she says, "I believe you." Which I gotta say again, just like Abraham's wife, when he heard the voice said, "Move out in the desert." There's just some understanding wives in these stories. If I came home and said a voice told me to move out to the desert, or that I was God's final prophet, I don't think my wife would handle it very well. But Muhammad's wife does. And he begins to receive these messages. And he begins to believe that he is, in fact, hearing the direct word of God through Gabriel, and it is his job to spread this message. Islam means submission, and he who follows Islam will submit to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. What were these teachings that were so influential that they made Islam the fastest growing religion in the world in the 6th century? what did Muhammad preach, and what will eventually lead the Dar al-Islam, or the world of Islam, to a multi-centuries long crusading conflict with Christendom. Well, let's make all those things our story for another day. What I'd like you to do now is jump on over to Schoology, and you will head over to Modern Western Civilization and Islam. And I'd like you to do Old Book Islam chapter, read that. And the questions I'm asking of you are, there's the PDF right there. You need to see it. And the questions I'm asking of you are page 308, questions 2 to 6. No vocab this time around. So you complete that, and you are all set for the day. Thanks for playing, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you tomorrow. Take care now.